Good morning, students. Hope all of you are safe and fine. So, in last class, Dr. Vamsi sir has taught about articulators, right? So, next we will be checking into occlusion in complete denture. This is one of the important topics. So, as all of you know, what do you mean by occlusion? In simple terms, the contact of upper and lower teeth, we commonly termed as occlusion. So occlusion you see in almost in all branches of dentistry. So every one of us will be talking about occlusion. So it is dealt in conservative dentistry, in orthodontics, pedodontics, periodontics. So in every way, prosthodontics especially. So occlusion is seen in all branches of dentistry. It's very important. So the contact of upper and lower teeth is known as occlusion. So here you have to remember, in dentulous patients where natural teeth are present, patient will automatically close the mandible into contact of upper and lower teeth will occur naturally. But in complete denture means the patient is edentulous. When you are establishing a occlusion in complete denture patient, first you have to record centric relation. This class already finished. Horizontal relation. Centric relation has to be recorded at an established vertical dimension. Then upper and lower occlusal rims or denture bases has to be sealed in that position. This has to be transferred to articulator. So in the articulator, you will do the setting of artificial teeth. So when you are setting the artificial teeth, you have to take care of, or you have to follow all the principles such that when patient closes the mandible into centric relation, the upper and lower artificial teeth in the denture has to come into contact. So to name it, the occlusion which has been uh, the occlusion which has been taken place in centric relation is commonly known as centric occlusion. So occlusion that has taken place when mandible is in centric relation is known as centric occlusion. So in complete denture, we have to see that centric occlusion has to be there. So coming to introduction, the occlusion in complete denture must be developed to function efficiently and with the least amount of trauma to the supporting tissue. As all of you know, in which patients you give complete denture? When there is completely edentulous patient. So in edentulous patient, when you give complete denture, it is a removable prosthodontic. So removable dentures. So when upper and lower removable dentures in the oral cavity come into contact during mastication, that masticatory load from the artificial teeth will be transmitted to the underlying supporting tissues. What are the supporting tissues? Mucosa. Beneath the mucosa, you have alveolar bone. So, the masticatory load subjected onto the denture bases will be transmitted to the underlying mucosa and the supporting bone. So, to prevent any kind of trauma or damage to the bone or the mucosal tissues, have to take utmost care that the forces or masticatory load has to be minimized such that the trauma to the underlying tissues will be minimized. They are such that. So, you see, occlusion in complete denture must be developed to function efficiently and with the least amount of trauma to the supporting tissue. So, masticatory load that has generated will cause trauma to the tissue, but the trauma has to be minimized by controlling the masticatory load. This is our main goal. And one more, all dentures move in function. As these dentures are lying on the mucosal tissue, which are resilient in nature, they have slight amount of movement. And prime aim in construction of complete denture is to ensure that this movement is reduced to the minimum. So the movement of denture base on the mucosal tissues has to be minimized so that the forces are decreased. The amount of forces going on to the tissues will be minimized. When forces act on a body in such a way that no motion results, there is a balance or equilibrium. Okay, so we have to create a occlusion such that the occlusion should be right side, left side occlusion should have a equal contacts. When patient closes the mandible, right and left contacts has to be occurred simultaneously. So imagine patient try to close the mandible, only right side occlusion develops or occlusion is there only on the right side of the denture basis. What happens? The left side denture basis will lift. Okay, it causes rocking of the dentures. This rocking of the denture causes traumatic forces onto the tissues or the bone. So to minimize these forces, we should see that right and left contacts has to occur simultaneously. This is known as equilibrium forces. By creating this occlusion, we also develop stability of the dentures. So coming to the definition, occlusion, the static relation between incising means anterior teeth, or masticating surfaces. These are posterior occlusal surfaces of maxillary or mandibular teeth or tooth analogs. Means occlusion means once the jaw movement comes to a static position. At that position, the contact of upper and lower teeth is known as occlusion. So in static relation, when the movement is not there, contact is known as static relation. That is known as occlusion. According to Hartwell, this is a static position and jaws can be either in centric or eccentric relation. So jaws can be, means condyle can be in centric position or in eccentric position, but it should be in a static. And what is articulation? Articulation is a dynamic contact relationship between the occlusal surface of teeth during function. So articulation is dynamic, which contact occurs during function, means during mastication or during deglutition, swallowing. So during deglutition or during mastication, the contact is known as articulation. Whereas in static position, when contact occurs, it is known as occlusion. Okay, know the difference? Occlusion and articulation. Coming to centric occlusion, the occlusion of opposing teeth, maxillary and mandibular teeth, when the mandible is in centric relation. Remember, first slide we have discussed. Okay? The occlusion of opposing teeth when a mandible is in centric relation is known as centric occlusion. This may or may not coincide with the maximal intercuspal position. So maximum intercuspation of teeth happens only in natural dentition. Whereas in artificial dentition or dentures, we have to create centric occlusion. No? Already we have been taught what is centric relation. The maxillomandibular relation in which condyles articulate with the thinnest avascular portion of their respective disc with the complex in anterior superior position against the shapes of articular eminence. This position is independent of tooth contact. This position is clinically discernible when the mandible is directed superiorly anteriorly. It is restricted to purely rotary movement above the transfer horizontal axis. So, in this relation, occlusion develops is known as centric occlusion. What is centric slide? The movement of mandible while in centric relation. When mandible is in centric relation, any kind of movement takes place from the initial contact into maximum intercuspation. From first contact of teeth Further, if there is any sliding takes place and settles down into maximum intercuspation, it is known as centric slide. Coming to maximum intercuspation, the complete intercuspation of opposing teeth independent of condylar position. This we can see in natural dentition. So where the teeth will guide into the upper and lower cusp, maxillary and mandibular cusp will guide the teeth into occlusion. It's known as maximum intercuspation. This is not related to condylar position. Sometimes referred to as best fit of teeth regardless of condylar position. See, when mandible is in centric relation, occlusion in that position is known as centric occlusion. Whereas in maximum intercuspation, upper and lower teeth come into contact irrespective of condylar position. Okay, this point you have to remember. Eccentric occlusion means centric means when mandible moves upward and downward. Eccentric means other than centric means protrusive, lateral. When you move the mandible right side, that is known as right lateral. When you move the mandible left side, it's known as left lateral. See, maxillary is a fixed jaw, whereas mandibular is a movable portion. If you move the mandible forward, it is known as protrusive. If you move the mandible right side, it is known as right lateral. If you move the mandible left side, it's known as left lateral. And one more point you have to remember. All of you. If you move the mandible towards the right side. See, all of you imagine, if you move the mandible towards the right side, that is known as right side is known as working side. Okay, right side is known as working side contacts, whereas left side is known as non-working side or balancing side. Okay, this you have to remember. Imagine working side, non-working side or balancing side. Same way, if you move the mandible left side is known as working side, other side, right side is known as non-working side or balancing side. These terms you have to remember. Okay, protrusive, working side or balancing side. Eccentric occlusion refers to contact of teeth that occurs during the movement of mandible. It is of two types: functional occlusion, non-functional occlusion. What do you mean by functional occlusion? The contact of maxillary and mandibular teeth during mastication and deglutition. We have already seen. This is known as, in articulation also we have seen. The contact of teeth, upper and lower teeth during mastication and deglutition is known as during functional occlusion. Again, two types. Depending on eccentric movement of the mandible, it can be lateral functional occlusion, protrusive functional occlusion. If functional occlusion takes place during lateral movement, it is known as lateral functional occlusion. If functional occlusion takes place during protrusion of the mandible, it is known as protrusive functional occlusion. Lateral functional occlusion. It includes tooth contacts that occur on canines and posterior teeth on the side towards which the mandible moves. As I told you, when you move the mandible towards right side is known as working side. Okay, same thing. On that side, example, you move the mandible towards right side. When you move the mandible towards right side, canines and posterior teeth will contact. Depending on which teeth are in contact, again, lateral functional occlusion can be classified into canine guided occlusion or grouped lateral occlusion. Remember, functional occlusion is two types: lateral functional occlusion, protrusive functional occlusion. Lateral functional occlusion, depending on which tooth is in contact, depending on that, it can be canine guided occlusion, group lateral occlusion. So when you move the mandible towards right, only right side upper and lower canines are in contact and posterior teeth are out of contact. There is a gap between the posterior teeth and only the canines are in contact. That is known as canine guided occlusion. This is seen in young individuals where teeth are not worn. Canine cusp or canine tips are very sharp. So when you move the mandible towards working side, only the canine, upper and lower and canine will be in contact. Remaining teeth will be out of contact. This is known as canine guided occlusion. Whereas in aged person, when canine cusp tip has worn out or reduced, when mandible is moved towards the working side, even the posterior teeth, not only the canine, even the posterior teeth will be in contact. This is known as group lateral occlusion. Only canine is in contact, it is known as canine guided occlusion. If more posterior teeth and canines are in contact, it's known as group. Group means more than one. It's known as group. So, group lateral occlusion. Canine guided occlusion. During lateral mandibular movement, the opposing upper and lower canines of the working side contact, thereby causing disocclusion. Disocclusion is nothing but creating a gap or out of occlusion of all posterior teeth on the working side and balancing side. So even on the balancing side, there won't be any contact. Canine guided occlusion, only on the working side, upper and lower canine will be contact. Remaining posterior teeth on working side and balanced side will be out of contact. Canine guided occlusion is seen in an individual with unworn dentition. Okay. Group lateral occlusion. In addition to canine guidance, in addition to canine contacts, even certain other posterior teeth on the working side also will be in contact during lateral movement of the mandible. Even posterior teeth will be in contact on the working side. Such a type of contact during lateral movement is called group lateral occlusion. Coming to protrusive functional occlusion. It includes eccentric contacts that occur when mandible moves forward. When you move the mandible forward, the lower incisors, the incisal edges of lower teeth will rest on the lingual inclines or lingual slopes of the upper anteriors. Lingual incisal edges will come in contact with the incisal lingual slopes of the upper anteriors. So it includes eccentric contacts that occur when the mandible moves forward. Ideally, the 6 mandibular anterior teeth contact along the lingual inclines or lingual slopes of the maxillary anterior teeth, while posterior teeth disocclude. See here, when during protrusion, only lower 6 anteriors will contact upper 6 anteriors. Posteriors will be disoccluded. This is known as protrusive functional occlusion. Yes, what is physiological occlusion? Occlusion in harmony with the functions of masticatory system. So masticatory system, muscles of mastication, mandible, okay, condylar movement. When you are arranging a teeth or occlusion develop in harmony with this system is known as physiological occlusion. Coming to balanced occlusion, the bilateral simultaneous anterior and posterior occlusal contact of teeth in centric and eccentric position. So always remember that in complete denture we have to establish as much as balanced occlusion as possible, because of this balanced occlusion on any given time there will be contact of anterior and posterior as well as right and left. All the teeth will be in contact. By doing so, there will not be any tilting or rotatory movement or forces on the denture. As these untoward forces are minimized, the trauma to the underlying tissues also will be minimized. So that's what balanced occlusion means. There will be bilateral, both sides, right and left side, simultaneous. Anytime, two sides contacts will be happening, and also anterior and posterior also will be contacts are there. Lingualized occlusion, the form of denture occlusion which articulates the maxillary lingual cusp with the mandibular occlusion surface in centric, working and non-working mandibular position. See here, lingualized occlusion, maxillary buccal cusp will be, height of maxillary buccal cusp will be minimized to reduce the lateral interferences. To reduce the lateral forces, maxillary buccal cusp will be minimized such that maxillary lingual cusp means, you remember functional cusp of maxillary are palatal cusp or lingual cusp. So upper lingual cusp will come in contact with the mandibular occlusal surface. By doing so, occlusion will be there, but the lateral or interference or interrupting forces will be eliminated. Then monoplane teeth. You all remember different forms of posterior teeth. You have anatomic forms, non-anatomic forms. Okay. So non-anatomic form or zero cusp, where the occlusal surface of posterior teeth are flat. So if these teeth are or used for setting the teeth, and the occlusion developed with these teeth are known as monoplane teeth or neurogenic occlusion. So monoplane occlusion, an occlusal arrangement wherein the posterior teeth have masticatory surfaces that lack any cuspal height. So no cusp are there, zero cusp. So the teeth that are having zero cusp or no cusp, with that teeth, if you develop a posterior occlusion, that is known as monoplane occlusion. Coming to differences between, this is very important. See, till now we have seen the definitions and what type of occlusion has to be developed in artificial teeth. Before that, we need to see the differences between natural and artificial dentition. This is very important. So all of you know, natural, when teeth are there, suppose you have 28 teeth, 32 teeth. Each tooth will be present in its own socket, and it have its own periodontal ligament. When you eat or load is applied on a single tooth, it absorbs. Only that single tooth will absorb, and that force will be transmitted to the periodontal ligament. Again, because of the periodontal ligament acting like a cushion, the force onto the bone will be minimized. So each tooth will be acting like an independent unit. Each tooth will have its own activity. Whereas coming to complete denture, in complete denture, when there is no teeth in the oral cavity, you are giving a denture. So all the teeth what you are set will be in the denture. So the load applied on one part of the denture will be transmitted to the entire denture base. Okay. So the teeth, artificial teeth in the denture will act like a whole unit. Whereas in natural teeth, single tooth will act independently. Whereas in complete denture, all the teeth will act like a group or like a single unit. So as we already seen, the masticatory load or any kind of forces onto the denture will be transmitted to the underlying supporting tissue such as mucosa or to the alveolar bone. So we have to minimize the masticatory load onto the denture base such that the load transmitting to the underlying tissues also will be reduced, thereby the trauma also can be reduced. So these points you have to remember. So let's see the difference between natural dentition. Periodontal ligament supports each tooth. Each tooth will be supported by periodontal ligament which acts like a cushion. In artificial dentition, there is no periodontal ligament. So whatever load applied onto the denture will be transmitted to the underlying tissues. Each natural tooth will function independently, whereas in artificial dentition, all function as a group. Any kind of malocclusion is non-problematic over years. So patient has not underwent orthodontic treatment, has crowding of the teeth, there is no problem. He can continue his activities normally. Whereas in artificial teeth, if there is any malocclusion, if there is heavy contact only in one area, it causes drastic problems. So we have to avoid any kind of malocclusion in artificial dentition. In natural dentition, non-vertical forces. The vertical forces means forces acting along the long axis of the tooth. Forces acting along the long axis of the tooth are known as vertical forces. Non-vertical means either horizontal or oblique forces. So if any force applied on the tooth obliquely or horizontally are known as non-vertical forces, are well tolerated by natural teeth. Non-vertical forces are well tolerated by natural teeth, whereas these non-vertical forces are damaging to the supporting tissue. These non-vertical forces are heavy forces which causes damaging to the supporting tissue in case of artificial dentition. And incising does not affect posterior teeth. So when natural teeth are there, if you bite on any apple, it does not have any effect on the posterior teeth. Whereas with the denture, patient bite with the anterior teeth. Posteriorly, the denture bases will lift. So incising affects all the teeth on the base. Okay? We should ask the patient not to bite with the front teeth. Okay? Natural dentition, second molar is favored position for mastication. Whereas in artificial dentition, heavy pressures of mastication in second molar region tilts bases and shifts it on inclined surface. So heavy pressure of mastication on artificial dentition or denture should be avoided. And bilateral balance is rarely found. And if present, it considered as interference. This point you have to remember. Bilateral balanced occlusion in our natural dentition is not at all present. If it is present, it causes interference to the teeth. Okay. Whereas bilateral balance is necessary for denture-based stability in artificial dentition. In artificial dentition, you have to develop bilateral balanced occlusion to provide stability for the denture. And periodontal ligament has proprioceptive impulses. They give feedback to avoid any kind of prematurity, and also they will help us in amount of pressure application. If you are biting on any solid objects, okay, the periodontal ligament, which has proprioceptive impulses, will guide you. So you can apply only this much of force. Beyond that, if you are applying, it will create pain. So you know how much to bite. Beyond that, you cannot bite the hard substance in natural teeth. Whereas artificial teeth, there is no feedback of proprioceptive impulses. And denture base rests in centric occlusion. So any kind of prematurities in this position will shift the denture base. So that's why you have to advise the patient with dentures to avoid any kind of hard foods, because there is no proprioceptive impulses. They can bite heavily. At that time, at that heavy pressures, either underlying tissues may damage or the denture bases may be shift and lead to breakage of the dentures. Okay, these are the difference of artificial teeth and natural teeth.